doubted me over the past decade about this evil woman now needs to eat some humble pie.
I was like, I tried so hard. He goes, I know you did. I know you did, ma'am. I know you did.
I just thought this woman is really doing something quite dreadful to Britain and Harry.
Harry and Meghan are going to be petrified about the idea of Tom Bowers snooping back into...
This is not like a Daily Mail hatchet job or anything like that. He has a very solid track record.
I just collapsed in his arms crying.
The drama surrounding Meghan Markle and Prince Harry has never unfolded quietly, but beneath the noise of interviews, accusations, and glossy red carpet reinventions, there has always been a more unsettling question lingering in the background. Was this a love story, or was it a strategy? From the beginning, critics whispered that something about the union felt less like fate and more like calculation. One particularly blunt voice once said Meghan was doing something dreadful to Britain, and that Harry, hopelessly in love, had followed her lead as an accomplice rather than an equal. It was a harsh assessment, but it planted a seed.
Has fallen in love with her in a ludicrous way and has gone along as her accomplice.
We landed.
The privacy laws are pretty strong here, and that's what she used as a weapon at the time. So there were quite a...
Because while the public watched a fairy tale wedding bathed in candlelight and tradition, others were watching the fine print. When Harry and Meghan left the United Kingdom and landed in Canada, there was that emotional moment. Meghan collapsing into the arms of a longtime security guard, crying that she had tried so hard. It was raw. It was human. And yet, even as tears were shed, another narrative was forming. Observers began asking whether the real story was not about heartbreak or mistreatment, but about foresight. Tom Bowers' name hovers over this entire saga like a courtroom shadow. He is not known for impulsive commentary or tabloid theatrics. A trained barrister, he builds his arguments carefully, stacking documents and timelines instead of adjectives.
I want to be famous, I want to walk down the red carpet. And she has now done that. And she's...
a few things about her personal life. I'll work them into another book, I think.
When Bower revisits Harry and Meghan's marriage, it makes people uneasy, not because he shouts, but because he doesn't. He dissects. He connects. He leaves readers to sit with the implications. And the implications are uncomfortable. According to Bower's reporting and those who echo it, Meghan's ascent was never accidental. As a child, she reportedly told her father she wanted to be famous, to walk red carpets. Years later, she did exactly that. Born into a fractured family, an unknown actress navigating Hollywood's brutal hierarchy, she became a global figure. Critics argue that she calculated her moves carefully, understanding leverage long before she met a prince. Admirers call it ambition. Detractors call it something colder. Her
calculated that she could be a great success, and by marrying Harry.
First marriage is often cited as evidence. The separation from Trevor Engelson did not unravel publicly in chaos. It ended cleanly, efficiently, with minimal financial entanglement. There were no prolonged court battles splashed across headlines. It was controlled. To some, that signals maturity. To others, it reveals a mindset: never leave your future unsecured. By the time Prince Harry entered her life, Meghan was not new to contracts, branding, or intellectual property. Hollywood teaches survival through paperwork. Harry, on the other hand, grew up inside an institution designed to absorb consequences.
And now his wife trades off her husband's fame and fortune, or not so great fortune now. I mean, this is the problem.
Advisors handled fallout. Systems provided cushioning. Contracts were institutional, not personal. When those two worlds collided, it was perhaps inevitable that one would operate from emotion and the other from structure. Everything shifted in 2020. The royal exit, the relocation, the explosive media attention, the lucrative deals with Netflix, Spotify, and publishers. This was not just a cultural rupture. It was a financial transformation. Income streams multiplied. Exposure intensified. And according to Bower's analysis, this may have been the moment when the architecture of the marriage subtly evolved. Prenuptial agreements are common in high-profile unions. Amendments are quieter and far more consequential. They appear during moments of upheaval,
But we're still interested because, after all, he's a great character in our modern day.
When attention is divided and emotions are high. Harry was navigating estrangement from his family, lawsuits against the press, and a total reinvention of his public identity. Meghan, critics argue, was navigating something she understood deeply: recalibration. If adjustments were made, they would not need to be sinister to be powerful. They would simply need to be precise. After 2022, observers began noticing a shift not in interviews, but in filings. Trademarks, brand registrations, and intellectual property increasingly centered on Meghan individually. Projects bore her name alone. Ownership structures appeared more insulated. It wasn't loud or rebellious. It was meticulous. Supporters call it smart business. Skeptics see asymmetry. California's community property laws are often simplified as a 50-50 safety net. But courts enforce what is signed. If assets and ventures were carefully carved out, default splits become irrelevant. Courts divide shared property. They do not divide leverage that was never jointly held. And leverage, in this story, may be the most valuable currency of all. Harry's public persona is narrative-driven. His vulnerability, his memories of his mother, his grievances against the press, these are powerful, but they are emotional capital. Meghan's strength, critics argue, lies in structural capital: filings, brands, documentation. One speaks openly. The other secures quietly. In negotiations, silence can be more potent than confession. Over the past few years, something in Harry's demeanor appears to have shifted. Not rage, not rebellion, something subtler. A hesitation, a slight erosion of certainty. He speaks passionately, but sometimes with a tone that feels unanchored. It is the posture of a man navigating unfamiliar terrain without the institutional safety net he once relied on. This is where the story becomes less about villains and victims and more about psychology. Harry seems to operate from reassurance, from the belief that emotional commitment is the foundation. Meghan, according to critics, operates from optionality, the belief that protection must exist regardless of circumstance. Neither philosophy is inherently wrong, but together they create a hierarchy. The partner who can leave clean always holds more structural power than the partner who cannot imagine leaving. Tom Bower's involvement amplifies this tension because he does not trade in gossip. He trades in patterns. He suggests that what looks chaotic in isolation may reveal design when aligned over time. And design is far more unsettling than accident. If a formal split were ever to occur, the headlines would focus on money. But the deeper impact would revolve around control of narrative, access to stories, timing of disclosures, foundations tied to royal identity. These are assets that cannot be evenly divided by a judge. They are strategic. Perhaps that is why this story unsettles so many people. It forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Love and law are not the same language. Emotion does not override documentation. And preparation, whether viewed as protection or premeditation, changes outcomes long before anyone realizes a game is being played. What we may be witnessing is not a sudden collapse, but a slow realization. A dawning awareness that agreements made in good faith can be interpreted very differently by each side. And once that awareness settles in, it lingers. Heavy, quiet, unavoidable. So what do you think? Is long-term planning in a marriage a sign of wisdom or a signal of mistrust? Is Meghan simply disciplined in a world that punishes the unprepared, or does this story reveal something more calculated? And if there is a realization forming behind closed doors, how much longer before it becomes visible to the world? Share your thoughts below, and if you appreciate deep dives that look beyond the headlines and into the structure beneath the spectacle, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.